Hello, at it again. Okay, now I've tried to put my camera on some automatic settings. I didn't like that before because it kept flipping around on me, but maybe I've got the colors right here. The wall behind me is a very soft beige or tan, and so maybe they'll turn out right. We'll see. This is called Awakening in a Flash. Is it for you? It's a journal I wrote 9/14 of 2010, the second of that day. The Mayan day was 7 monkey. So, right this minute, I am so joyful. I can hardly stand it. There is such an intensity to it that it defies these words. Just be in heart there and feel it with me. You can do that. Everyone can. Why is that? Because I am that I am. We are that. Your neighbor literally is yourself in a very real sense. Now, if that seems too esoteric for you, then put some trust in quantum entanglement. We are so blessed in this age to have so many ways of looking at things, so many angles of approach. Way back long ago, we had less of that. And then if we want to go even farther back, well, those aren't monkeys back there. They aren't cell cultures either. We've had such an advancement on Earth as puts today in the dust. But we're not supposed to know that, are we? It's okay, it's coming out. More and more, we're not just trusting, just sheepling along, taking the party line. We can think for ourselves, and we're starting to do that again, especially those of us that have thrown the media out. There, for a long time, it is almost as if we gave up this thinking for the self, this having any real independence at all. Oh, there were always and have been the rebels among us, and thanks Source for them. But overall, we've had a number of ages where we've been pretty tame. I'm so very glad this is ending. We are breaking out of those cages we've been in. We've allowed ourselves to be put in. It is so very important, too, not to play the blame game with any of this. It will be so tempting to mind as we see exposed before us the lies and the perfidy of the many that rule Earth. We will want to see them get theirs, so to speak. We'll want them punished. Well, that's just our pain and fear speaking there. And if you look closely, it's the mind. Heart doesn't go there. So, how about let's deal with those feelings now? Let's clean them up. That starts by seeing what they are, where they arise from. They come from the mind. That is all. Yep, the mind. You can partly spot this just because of the illusion of separation they include, which is not real. Not one bit. That's just mind's way of seeing, of understanding what it sees. And it's a good clue that you're in mind anytime your thinking is dealing in terms of separation. We are that. That's particle instead of wave being. So it turns out to be easier than all this forgiving stuff, all this working through your crap stuff. Not that forgiveness is bad, not at all. It's just that we've been sold a bill of goods in believing that we have to sweat our way through this stuff. Now, we can if we want to, but it's not so necessary. Most things take care of themselves when you leave mind for heart. That changes things. Mind is something that we can simply withdraw our attention, our allegiance from. We don't have to accept its way of being, of seeing all life, of seeing how life works. Mind is full of stuff and nonsense, remember? Don't trust the mind. So, if mind is the source of all these illusions and things, well, what then? This is where it gets pretty tricky. You see, mind is trying to sort out mind there. And that doesn't work. It reminds me of that picture of the hand painting the self, you know? That's why a real shift is called for here, not just a mental one. It is deeper. It is different from that. And we're just used to dealing with everything mentally. So we're not used to this. Enter heart. That's all I can say at this point. In order to enter heart and leave the mind behind, well, it calls for a certain amount of silence, a not listening, a real ignoring of what mind has to say in favor of just paying attention to heart, being in heart, not doing anything there, not having any practices necessarily to do that, unless you feel called to that. Just enter heart, whatever it takes. Give yourself some silence in nature. That's the very best way. It's such a good gift. Nature will heal you. She heals everyone, given the chance. And that's a big part of the magic of Anastasia, you know, being 100% one with nature for all of her life. And this is Anastasia from the Ringing Cedars series of books. She shows us the possibilities there. She demonstrates that, and it is flat out magnificent. Everybody, love yourselves enough to go buy the Anastasia book. Get yourself books 1, 2, and 3. Then you'll see. I bet you'll buy the rest. Many of you, like me, were already quite taken by book 1. The challenge with what the author brings us in these books is that we come to them usually still quite in the grip of the mind. That's our way of living. It has been for millennia. The mind doesn't, at least initially, have much use for Anastasia. She's not understandable by mind, hardly approachable. That's why many don't even believe she exists. They are trapped within mind. They call her fiction. I don't care. Even if you think it's just fiction, read it. It will change you. If you're open, ready, and willing to change. Are you? Anastasia breaks all of the rules. What she does, how she does it, what she says, just everything about her is initially shocking. It shocks the author, Vladimir Megre, for sure. He's such a very honest, sincere person in these books that he's willing to show himself in a terrible light. He does his very best just to be authentic, to be real. And he was a jerk, a real bona fide jerk when he met her. And that's how he paints it. Just like the current beauty we see in the soul of Alex Collier, as opposed to where he once was, such magnificent change occurs over the series of books in Vladimir. By the middle of the series, you won't know him as that jerk anymore. It's magnificent. The change that is possible in us. What are we open to see? What are we available to? What kind of choices are we making down deep in there? Or are we afraid? That is largely behind an unwillingness to see things. our fear. We don't want our reality challenged too much. Well, this is a very good time to be living then. Know why? Because the main reality sucks. It pretty much stinks. Thus, I believe we find a lot more of us ready for a change, even big change. We're made ready for that by the muck that we're living within. We are flat out sick of it. We just know there are better ways. Heart tells us that, and we're hearing it. Well, my friends, do look at that with me. See the beauty there of this ugliness, of the terrible difficulties we're in the middle of. See how if everything was roses, song, and sunshine, we wouldn't want to part with it. Be willing for change to take us over. Do you see this? If you're in mind even, you can see this. It just is. The terrible things that happen in life, these are as good, as useful, and as important as the beautiful ones. Yes, I know. We wish there were less of them somehow. We want the good stuff in the main. Well, mostly it is. Heart is in control of that, and it's beautiful there. Now and always there is beauty in heart, accessible through there. It doesn't need to make any sense. I don't care if it doesn't make sense. Forget sense, okay? That's mind. Shove it aside. Disidentify. That's the secret. That's how Krishnamurti could say that his big secret was simple. I don't care what happens, is what he said. Or maybe he said, I don't care much what happens. That's his secret, not caring what happens. Well, you can do that too, my friend. Nothing is stopping you. Rule over your kingdom there. Choose to let go. Let go sufficiently to not care quite so much. See that. See that it's within your power. You can do this. We've all been convinced somehow we can't wake up. That's only for the really good folks, you know. We can't do this. That's for them. Or that takes a long path.